Today's reading is taken from the book of Micah, chapter 5. But to you, O Bethlehem of Ephratah, who are one of the little clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to rule in Israel, whose origin is from of old, from ancient days. Therefore he shall give them up until the time when she who is in labour has brought forth. Then the rest of his kindred shall return to the people of Israel, and he shall stand and feed his flock in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the name of the Lord his God. And they shall live secure, for now he shall be great. When I first read through the text of this passage from Micah, there was something strangely familiar about it. I quickly realised that verse 2 is very similar to the words used in Matthew chapter 2, verse 6. This in itself is telling, as Matthew uses Micah's words as an important part of his account of the birth of Jesus. In Matthew's account, the Magi referred back to Micah to tell King Herod where the Messiah was to be born. So it is clear the Gospel writers accepted Micah's messianic prophecy. The ruler whose birth Micah foretells is the one whose birth we will soon be celebrating, a king of the line of David from Bethlehem, a king who will shepherd his flock. This passage continues a long biblical theme. Bethlehem is one of the little clans of Judah, or perhaps more accurately, a lesser or insignificant one. In Israel's tradition, it was the oldest brother who inherited the birthright, but we have seen the youngest chosen on a number of other occasions. This happened with Jacob, who received the birthright and the blessing, and with Joseph, who was exalted over his brothers, and then with David too, overlooked until Samuel had seen all his brothers. Only then was he brought in from the field and chosen as king. Bethlehem was not one of the important clans of Judah, so why should anyone important be born there? But from this insignificant village, a young shepherd boy grew up and became the most beloved king in Israel's history. Subsequently, a descendant of that king fulfilled God's long-awaited promise of deliverance. So in respect of Bethlehem, the biblical pattern held true. It was chosen to be the birthplace of the Messiah. From this most unlikely of places, a baby was to be born to a young unmarried girl. We still hear that young girl's song in evening prayer or evensong. But Mary is not the only young girl chosen by God to do something special. In more recent times, we have seen other young girls do amazing things for society and for God's creation. Malala and Greta Thunberg are two names that immediately come to mind. But it is not just young girls that are chosen by God to emerge from obscurity into the limelight. Captain Sir Tom Moore, then aged 99, set out to raise £1,000 earlier this year to assist the National Health Service. Within weeks, his name and picture was appearing on news bulletins around the world. By walking laps of his garden, he raised nearly £33 million. Every single person that contributed to that fundraising effort could be said to be an unlikely person chosen by God to accomplish his purpose. There is an important message to take away from this passage. If we think about our current situation, people are looking to world leaders to resolve the issues relating to the COVID pandemic, but they are not the ones on the front line tending to the sick, nor are they the ones working behind the scenes in laboratories testing swabs for diagnoses or working on producing a vaccine. In this situation, world leaders are not the important people, nor are world government buildings the important places. The places where the important work is being done are those previously obscure or ordinary hospital wards and laboratories. They have become as important to us now as Bethlehem became to the Jews following the birth of Jesus. Previously obscure, Bethlehem is now synonymous with Christianity, with worldwide recognition of being a place of importance. As individuals, we too have been chosen by God to do his work. What we do may not carry the same significance as Mary's role, but what each of us does, no matter how small, is important to accomplish God's overall purpose. In a paraphrase of the words of Paul in his first letter to the Corinthians, God chooses the weak to shame the strong. Amen.